Welcome back to the Guitar Department. I'm your host, Joe Alton. Today, on this episode, we have a very special couple of guests for you. We're going to open it up with photographer Mark Lage. He has a new book out. It's actually been out a few months, but it's a coffee table book full of photographs of all of the Iowa musicians that you've come to know and love over the past few years. And then I've also got from Wednesday's Notes, the host Benton Taylor is here to discuss the legacy of Wendy Hull and how the transition from her passing into the full-on, full-force Wednesday's Notes site that we come to know today, how that whole process played out. Stay tuned. It's going to be a great episode. Welcome to the Guitar Department. And welcome back. I am sitting here with local photographer Mark Lage. Mark, thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Mark has a new book out. It came out just last year. It is called Iowa Musicianship. Mark, tell me about the book.
Well, the book is just a project that I started working on right as the pandemic was getting started, which kind of set me back a little bit. But it's just something that I've always loved doing, is music photography, and that's pretty much where I want to be focused at this point in my life. And I decided to put this book together and to support local Iowa artists. 98% of the book is local Iowa artists. There's 300 pages. It's mostly central Iowa, but I've been around the state pretty much, but you know, that's kind of what it's about. And I go to, you know, dive bars and festivals, and I've done all that, so it's been pretty special.
So you've been hanging around the local music scene for a good number of years?
Yeah, I started doing it in the late 70s, early 80s.
Okay, and you've been taking pictures that whole time?
Yeah, oh yeah.
And just recently started to compile it into the book in the last 4 years?
Yeah, the last 5 years probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
What got you started in photography in general?
Well, actually, to tell you the truth, I had just graduated from beauty school, and I was trying to figure out what to do with my time to try to get busy, you know, so I decided I was going to take up photography because I always wanted to. And music has been, you know, one of the biggest things in my life since I started. I never learned to play, unfortunately, but you know, I really enjoy music, and it's just something I want to be around. And I love being around artists. I love being around creative people. I mean, that's just where I feel we're comfortable, you know. I've done hair for 45 years now, and you know, I just retired. So I had a salon for 40 years, just me and my wife. And my son and daughter-in-law just took it over.
What's the name of your salon?
Mark Stevens, and we're on 15th and Locust, downtown Des Moines.
Mark Stevens on 15th and Locust, cool. Well, be sure to check out Mark Stevens on 15th and Locust, everybody.
Yeah. The kids would love it.
Is it great for the kids? You can get my daughter's haircut there?
Oh yeah, I mean, it's what's really cool about it is that they wanted to step up and keep it going, and you know, that I'm pretty proud of them for that. And I think it's going to be a good thing for them.
Yeah.
You know, we raised 3 kids doing that, so.
So you, like you said, you spent about 40 years taking pictures. It said late 70s, so maybe 50.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, it's getting there.
And so you've been drawn to the music the whole time.
Music was always my favorite thing to do. Of course, I did weddings and I did that kind of stuff. You know.
So you've worked as like a commercial photographer type of thing.
And I also worked for a lab right out of. I went to Grandview College to take photography.
Cool.
And then I went to work for a lab out in West Des Moines and did all their custom hand enlarging.
Oh, nice.
A place called University Photo. And that's where I just learned the films, I learned the lighting, and just that's how it all took off. And I just fell in love with it. Music was the best part of it. You know.
What makes you pivot to producing an actual book? I've seen a lot of your pictures around. Most of the local performers around will post any pictures that you send to them, and your credits are just all over the place. We've had some of your pictures on this show in the past. Transferring from that to making an entire book is kind of a bigger jump. What made you decide to take the leap?
Well, first of all, you know, I had a partner in putting the book together, which was Lindsay Moon,
right,
who worked for IPR, but does not anymore. But she worked with IPR, and that's where she really got me hooked up with festivals and doing that stuff through Iowa Public Radio, which I still shoot for.
Yeah.
So that's how I go to Hinterland and all the festivals, you know, which is really my favorite thing to do.
Yeah.
I mean, I love being there. You know, there's the energy, and especially like Hinterland last year was just incredible.
Do you get some extra access being a credentialed photographer, or do you just have to buy a
I'm
ticket and
I'm
bring
in
a
the
camera?
pit. No, I'm in the pit, and yeah, I have all the credentials, so that's the best part about it.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's pretty cool.
And I
right?
just go up and down the pit and shoot people in the pit, and it's really fun. And, you know, it's just people having a good time.
Yeah.
You know, so that's what I love to see, and I love my photography is real emotional photography. I mean, I don't really just want to get a picture of somebody just standing there doing music. I mean, I want to see them feeling the music, and that's what I try to specialize in, and that's all in the book too. So.
Well, we're gonna take a look at some of the pictures in the book. So was it Lindsay that actually pushed you to compile them into a?
Well, no, I just hired her to help me do it. Like I say, I'm a hairdresser
Sure.
and a photographer. I mean, I'm not into the whole design and how we do it, how we put it together.
Format, layout,
yeah,
stuff
just the
like
whole
that.
format and layout and all that. And she was a godsend. I'll tell you, it took us a while to get it done, but it turned out incredible.
Well, it's a fantastic book, and it's full of some great pictures. Are there any in the book that you'd like to talk about?
Oh
while
yeah,
we have
there's
you?
several in here that are probably some of my favorites. Sam Salamone,
Sam,
of
yeah.
course. You know, he's a dear friend.
He's a blues rock and roll or a blues Hall of Famer here. Too.
Iowa Rock and Roll Hall of Famer, all of them. I mean, he was in every category you could be in. Then, you know, we go to, this is A.V. Grouse,
Hey.
just an incredible band. And two incredible people right there. Jen and Chris are just genuine as they come. And that's, you know, that's probably one of the best things about, you know, doing this book was, you know, getting to know all these people has been very special. You know, you got Jason Wall-Smith and his son Mitchell, and Mike Butterworth with his daughter Emma, who are incredible musicians also. And Brandon, we lost Brandon last year too. Great guy. And we can jump over here. There's Kevin Burt.
Hey.
And I'm just going to go right
Chad
to this
Elliott.
one. Sorry.
No, you're okay.
And Courtney Krause.
Courtney Krause.
And then we go to each section has a page like this that tells you, like, these are the photos from Monday Night Live.
Yeah.
And it's just a section of all the Monday Night Live. There's a section of Porch Fest in here, and it's just, you know, different elements, some of my favorite shots, and just
Scott and Russ.
Scott and Russ. The house band there is incredible. Dave DeSharm Jones.
Yeah, Scott, Russ, Dave, Annie, and then it's either Scott or Ben on bass.
Scott or Ben Mars. Scott's on the road most of the time now, and it's just, this has been a tribute to the musicians, and you know, really the whole thing about this is to support Iowa music, just like it says right there.
Yes.
You know, that's my passion and my purpose. I feel like right at this point in my life, you know,
And
plus I get to do it, you know, so it fills my time up.
we talked about this off camera, but we haven't mentioned it yet. You were inducted into the Iowa Rock and Roll Hall of Fame this year, weren't you?
Yes, I was. I mean, it was totally, it wasn't anything I ever expected. You know, it just kind of came out of the blue, and, you know, I'm honored and humbled, and any kind of positive word you can put to it, to be, you know, put into that family. You know, I've tried to be in that family for 40 years. So,
right.
You know, and I feel like I'm in the musicians family. You know, it's just because of what I like to do and the way I promote music. You know, that's my whole goal right now.
Well, I definitely feel like the Iowa musicians around here feel like you're part of the family.
Oh,
And speaking to the family, if one wanted to buy a copy of your book, how would we go about that?
You go to marklagephoto.com, and then Mark Lage is MARKLAGE photo.com, and you can order it from there.
All right. Well, it is a fantastic book. It is got some heft to it too. That is a brilliant coffee table book.
I'm very proud of it. Me and Lindsay worked real hard on it. So.
Well, it is really well made, man. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for making the book, and keep doing what you're doing, please.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Mark Lage, everybody. And we're back, and I'm sitting here now with Benton Taylor of Wednesday's Notes. Benton, how you doing?
Great. Thanks for having me, Joe.
Thank you for being here. You took over Wednesday's Notes for the late Wendy Hull after her sudden passing last year.
I did.
Can you tell me how that came about?
I'm still asking myself the same question. So, first of all, we do have a team. And it's really important to know that there's a team involved, because Nick Nystrom was key to keeping Wendy's vision alive. Nick immediately, within the day of Wendy's passing in June of this past year, picked that up and kept the daily listings going. It was very critical. It was very vital to that not dying off, essentially. Nick continued that for a little bit, and then February of this past year, Nick put a shout out on Wednesday's Notes and said, "This is a lot of work. I just can't do it all on my own." And to this day, we don't know how Wendy did this all on her own. Wendy was brilliant. She was just absolutely brilliant, and it's important to know that Wendy was brilliant. Nick puts that feeler out, and a few of us vocalized our sentiments that we really loved Wednesday's Notes, and we passionately loved Wednesday's Notes. It is a real important key to keeping the Des Moines music scene alive, and it's been acknowledged by a lot of people in the area and nationally that it's vital. So I put my foot in my mouth. I said, Nick, keep on doing what you're doing. This is awesome. I support you. Nick knew that I loved him, and so he kept that passion alive. But I said, man, I really miss the interviews, right? I really missed the interview because that was so critical. Wendy had the written interviews. Every Wednesday would be a written interview with one of the artists in the area.
She had hundreds of them.
She had hundreds,
it was over 1,000, wasn't it?
She
had them numbered,
just a huge catalog, because she'd even started prior to 2012.
Right.
Wendy had actually started writing these down and journaling them. Well, and then 2012, she had picked this up with Facebook, and we had a new way to express the feelings of artists in the area. So Wendy picks this up, puts it out there that she's got these interviews going on, and thank God that she did that, because that's how we get to know artists in the area, right? I mean, we get this real feel for how artists are feeling, and that's part of I think that's the great thing about art, is that when you can get inside of the artist's head and know why they do things the way they do, or what drives them, or what music drives them, it really helps you to appreciate their craft a lot more. Right. So, coming back to present, I had gotten to know Wendy. I had gotten to be at concerts. I brought her outside of her comfort zone, and I would make her come and sit with me at concerts, or when she was out and about. I loved Wendy. I loved what she was doing, and I appreciated what it was that she was doing. She helped me appreciate the Des Moines music scene, and especially being new to it since 2018. I knew one of my very favorite bands still today. I was just talking to them a little bit earlier. Is the Punching Pandas. They really got me. They grabbed my attention, and I love the vibrance that the Punching Pandas have. So
it's a great name.
It is, right, and just to have the brass and the organ and just so many dynamic moving parts of the country. I love the Punching Pandas. I love the guys in it, and I've gotten to know them on a personal basis. They brought me into this Des Moines music market, and I loved it. And Wendy started making me appreciate it. So I was there. Now she's building my appreciation for the market. So I vocalized that to Nick in February of last year. And I said, I can't do the daily listings like you're doing. But I said, I missed those interviews. Well, of course, when I vocalized that, Nick says, well, then by all means. He's like, do something with Wednesday's Notes. Like, start these interviews back up. It's yours too. And I said, wait a second. Hold up. Brakes. Nick, I didn't say that I wanted to take on Wednesday's notes. I said, you're doing great with this. I said, I just missed this, right? Well, Nick cultivated my love for what was going on there. So I kicked it around, and that just made me feel more and more guilty because I had the ability to do something with what Wendy had going on, and I wasn't doing it. And I really did feel guilty about it. But I didn't know. I was scared, man.
It's some big shoes to fill.
It's some big shoes to fill. So I started thinking, the more I think about this, the more I said, you know what, if I'm going to do this, I've got to go back to what Wendy was doing, right? I got to figure out what it was that Wendy was doing with Wednesday's notes. So I started going to all of the written interviews that Wendy had since 2012, hundreds of interviews, because I had to get the feel, right? If I'm going to do Wendy justice, I got to grab that feel, and I got to bring this to the people that loved Wendy. She had 2,200 followers at the time of her passing.
Yeah.
And so I started reading all these interviews. Well, there's a couple things that came out of this. First of all, I learned that Wendy did not polish this at all. What the artist wrote is what we saw. You write it, she put it out there. This was directly from the artist. So it helped me to realize that I didn't have to be a professional to do this.
Right.
Thank God, because that took some of the pressure
that
off
really
of me,
does
right?
help to not have
It
to
really
be a
does.
professional
It really
interviewer.
does. I mean, that took an immediate weight off of me.
Yeah.
And just the thought, okay, let's just do this. Let's just do this, right? So that took the weight off of it. Now, I had to think about what it was that she was saying. You know, what was it? And Wednesday's notes boils down to three things. Who are you? Where did you come from? What are you doing now? Where do you anticipate going in the future? You know, do you want to take this national? Do you want to see the whole region? Are you really content staying in the Des Moines market? Maybe there's a lot of artists that are content staying in the Des Moines market, and there is nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely.
Thank God that they do, because that's what gives us our entertainment every week.
Yeah.
So there was that consistency, and then the shout outs, whether it be, to let's get you guys out to the next show. Where's your next show going to be at? What are you going to be doing next? Or where do we find you on social media?
Yeah.
Right. So now let's give the audience some place to direct this love that they have now for the artist. And so the third thing that I really learned in that process is I hate reading. No, I'm just kidding. No, but do you know how long it takes to read this many? There is so many interviews there, right?
It's thousands of them, yeah.
I can't retain that all.
Yeah.
I wish that I could, but I'm a visual guy, and I think that we're visual people now. We've moved into an age where we are visual people.
So is that why you started doing them on camera then?
So that's
instead
why
of
we
written
started
interviews?
going to camera, because
Yeah.
now I'm a busy person.
Yeah.
So maybe I can't watch it, but I can listen to it, right?
Yep.
So, and I have a lot of people, a lot of viewers out here that are going, we don't have time to read.
Yep.
But we have time to listen. And we do that in the background. Maybe there's even listeners today that aren't possibly watching the cameras, but they're listening to what you and I are saying.
Yeah, absolutely. That's I have a lot of people who tell me that they listen to the interviews more so
Right.
than watch them. They listen to the performances.
Yeah.
It can be a very passive thing. You can do other things while doing it, but if you're
Exactly.
watching,
Exactly.
it's a little bit trickier.
Exactly. So now we've got a base that have been able to create time to actually hear what artists are telling us. So I went out to, the guilt was building in me. The guilt was building me. So in May of 2024, this past year, I am out at Pelican Post in West Des Moines with my wife, Karen, who is, let me tell you, I got to give all the love in the world to my wife, Karen, because she is allowing me to be out there and be at these shows and supporting. If it wasn't for a supportive wife, I couldn't do what I'm doing.
I am familiar with that sentiment.
And I think a lot of artists are very familiar.
Yeah,
we
of course.
would have no music scene in Des Moines or in Iowa, or quite possibly if you don't have someone that's giving you support in the
You usually
background.
have a very supportive partner, or you're single with no children.
Yes,
and you're
yes.
just doing it because you have
It's
the
critical.
time. Yeah.
It's really critical. It's really critical. So I'm out there. And my wife Karen enjoys listening to live music as well, and you'll see us out at shows together.
Sure.
So we're sitting at Pelican Post, and Brittany Sword is playing that afternoon. I love Brittany, right? I love Brittany, and
love Brittany too.
I had a love for Brittany prior to doing Wednesday's Notes, and I have even more love for her now. And Brittany gave me the confidence boost, because now this guilt's building, and I'm like, what do I do? What do I do? And so we picked up the video. I said, Brittany, if I don't do this today, I said, I'm never going to do it. And she said, you can do this. She said, you can do this. And it was what I took. It's what it took. So thank you, Brittany, because you are the reason that I'm doing what I'm doing. Wendy Hull, Brittany Sword. Two reasons that I can do what I'm doing now is because there was a synchronicity there that just, it's incredible. So Brittany said, do it. And I said, Brittany, okay, all right, let's do this. And so she finished her set out. We sat down at the table at Pelican Post. I popped my cell phone up against the napkin holder on the table, and we recorded the first Wednesday's Notes. And from there, well, I got such good feedback from everyone in the community that said, we have been missing this. This is a part that we needed this. And so I said, now if I don't do a video on Wednesday, I'm going to let the community down, right? I feel now I'm committed to the community.
Exactly.
I've got to do this.
You
I
got a
owe this
responsibility.
and so now I've got to do that. And so that's where this has all come from, the interview side. Now, with that being said, I'm the guy that's in front of the camera, right?
Yeah.
And we've continued Wednesday's Notes until now. I've realized it's challenging, but I love it. I feel I'm the guy getting all the blessings here because I am learning so much about the Des Moines music community. I love this. Passionately love this. And thank God we have this. I say Des Moines music community because that's what we were, but we are no longer the Des Moines. We are now the Iowa music community, right?
It's at least central Iowa, for sure.
Well, and I'll take
even eastern Iowa,
because my buddy Hank Ambrose up at Y100 in Spencer, which is my old hometown, is now actively doing things on the radio with local artists. And K97 out of Fort Dodge. We have developed a pipeline between us that we are feeding artists back and forth, artists that we're wanting to learn more about. We have just taken what was a core that Wendy had built here and some scattered parts of Iowa, and we have built something solid. And it is so amazing to watch this baby grow. I mean, it is. The artists are biting into it. The community's biting into it. We took what was 2,200 viewers at the time of Wendy's death, and a year later, we're at 56. We might even be at 5,800 followers currently today. And these are active followers. You look at, I'm going to put Drew Fry's name out there, which is a young up-and-coming artist here in the area. 21, going on 22 years old. Drew has got a brilliant career ahead of him. Drew, I believe right now has around 8,000 views on his video. And when Facebook looks at a view, they don't just look at, like, we watch 2 seconds. This is a video view.
Right.
We are doing something right now. And it's not me doing this. I got to tell you, this is the community that's doing this. This is the area musicians that are doing this. We have got musicians moving here from out of state because they're seeing the community grow. This is a community thing. This is and all I am is just I don't play instruments. We were talking about that earlier. I don't play instruments, but this is a community that is growing. We've gotten on board. We're doing this. We're doing this together. We're making this thing grow. Now, the vital part to know is that Nick is still in control. Nick is we lovingly call him Captain Nick. Nick Nystrom is directing this thing. He's done a beautiful job of just helping to keep the administrative side going, picking up. If we can't do something, Nick's doing it. Nick is awesome, and he kept the stream alive. Trisha Webster Kelly, she is amazing. She is doing every one of those weekly their daily listings. So she is the one that is spending all of her time. And I'm just a vocal piece. That's all I want people to understand. Wednesday's Notes is awesome. And we have something that we know that we love and we hold dear to us. But we want people to know that if it wasn't for our team, and if it wasn't for Ginger, Wendy's sister, who is still very actively involved in Wednesday's Notes, if it wasn't for our team, we couldn't do what it was that Wendy was doing. Wendy was amazing, but we have just picked up and carried this for her.
I have 2 more questions. We have
Yeah.
just over a minute
Absolutely.
left. So Wednesday's Notes is strictly a Facebook page at this point.
Currently, yes.
Are there any plans to expand that, an Instagram page, maybe a different company?
We never say no to anything. We always keep our ears open. So the future is bright. Things are going. Things are growing. I won't say no, and I can't answer that question currently.
Sure.
I would love to. What we do know is that you can reach Wednesday's Notes is on the internet. You can check out. It will link you currently. Wednesday's Notes on Facebook is the place to find us.
And that was my second question: can you tell the audience how to
Yes.
find Wednesday's Notes, how to keep up with you guys?
Come to Facebook, share it with your friends. All you do is benefit the Des Moines and the Iowa music family when you share that. So any holler, shout outs, anything you can do to help out Wednesday's Notes. I got to give love. I got 14 seconds.
Yeah.
I got to give love to our friends over Des Moines Media Group and Heather and Wicked over there. They are helping promote this. It is amazing what they're helping us do right now.
That's excellent. Well, on behalf of the entire musical community, whom I don't fully represent, by the way,
Right.
but we're all happy that Wednesday's Notes did not pass with the sudden and tragic death of Wendy Hull.
Yeah.
And we want to thank you and your team, who wasn't able to be here, but they're certainly welcome to come back and come on some other time.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for being here, Benton.
Thanks for having us.
Benton Taylor, everybody. Well, that's it for the guitar department. Thank you so much for tuning in to this extra special episode. We love Iowa music promotion around here, so please follow Wednesday's Notes on Facebook. Go find Mark Lage, photographer, both on his website and on Facebook and Instagram. And be sure to follow our show on Instagram at guitar_department and on Facebook at facebook.com/the guitar department. I want to thank our producer Matthew this time around, who is filling in for the sick Jackson Miller, and we've got Taylor on camera. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time right here on the Guitar Department.